All right, guys. So, wow, I kind of knew it would be a pretty quick install just because all the other systems were pretty much done. All right, guys, so we'll go ahead and get this IAT sensor in. Pretty simple. I bought a pigtail that's going to go to it, and from my math, I'm going to depin that and actually run the wires from the math to this. So you can see here, there's the pigtail for that. Then we'll go ahead and bolt back on the vacuum operated bypass. And I tilted the blower up, made sure it was closed, and tightened it from there. I'll definitely have to check and make sure the specs, and if there's anything else special here, we need to do that. You definitely don't want to not get boost because the valve is slightly open. So we definitely want to make sure that's not happening. Then we'll just go ahead and connect the vacuum line. Then I move over to the map sensor. This is the one that comes off the LSA. I'm going to have to extend my LS3, so we'll just go ahead and splice 3 wires into that and run that. Then I've been keeping this tape on the blower itself just because I don't want anything to get on the rotors during the paint and prep process, as well as just kind of sitting around. This gasket, I'm not sure about this gasket. It just doesn't fit right, so we'll see how that goes. But we'll kind of go on to, let's go ahead and remove this intake manifold for the last time. Let's go ahead and unclip the throttle body harness, as well as the map. Then we'll unclip the injectors, kind of pull those harnesses aside. Just kind of working my way around here to the other side, making sure I get that injector harness out of the way and make room. Now we'll go ahead and bleed the fuel rail. Make sure that we get the pressure off the rail. And there was a lot here. I actually edited quite a bit of this out. So I went through quite a few of those paper towels before I actually got all the fuel down to 0 and all the fuel stopped coming out. Then we'll go ahead and disconnect the existing rail feed line that's going to the regulator. Pretty straightforward. Kind of get that out of the way. Make sure your engine is not hot when you're doing this, because obviously you can get some gas on the headers and that wouldn't be good. Now 10mm socket, and go ahead and go around and take all the intake manifold bolts out. Now I'm going to leave the fuel rail on. I'm pulling this all out as one piece. So there we go. Now I had one little hose over here in the front. Need to take that off. That's typically where your oil catch can goes, which I'll definitely be changing to that for the LSA. So pull that out after I disconnect the vacuum in the back of the manifold. Now we're all ready. Here we go. Just kind of set that on there, kind of easy and get this thing aligned. There's no alignment pins. Remember, we took that alignment pin off. There's no alignment provision for the LS3 heads, unlike the LSA heads. So that's something that we just need to just line up, make sure all the holes are lined up. And I just kind of did that just by looking through the ports. Another thing, I take paper towels and put them down in each one of this. You don't want to drop anything in there, right? So, you know, the socket, one of those bolts, the washers can kind of fly off the bolts. So I like just kind of stuffing paper towels in each one of them until I'm ready to put the lid on. Okay, we'll go ahead and just snug these down, and then we'll go ahead and torque them in 2 passes. But for now, we're just gonna, and normally you would start from the center and kind of work your way out. There is a torque sequence for this, but I'm just using the electric ratchet and just run these down till they just start to snug up. There we go.
I'm gonna go 44 inch-pounds on the first round. There we go.
Man, this lid looks so amazing. The painter custom matched it to the wheel color. So it looks really awesome, and I'm really excited about how this thing turned out. But let's go ahead and get this throttle body on. We got 4 bolts, and we'll just kind of secure that, and then I'll go ahead and torque that down as well. And one thing I've meant to mention, the blower base, the first pass is, I believe, 44 or 45 inch-pounds, and the second pass is like 89 inch-pounds. So I went ahead and completed that. But right now we're going to go ahead and get this belt on. And it was a little tricky because I didn't really understand how it went around it. So I had to do a quick Google. From Dirty Dingo's CTSV F-body part and just kind of see how it was routed. And it was actually pretty easy once I just looked at the picture.
All right, guys, so part of this is adjusting the tension, and you basically select which one of those holes. So we may have to try a couple and figure out which one's going to give the best wrap and get that thing tight. I'm also going to have to flip that clamp around a little bit, but we'll just have to see how it works. All right, guys, so I got to figure out where to align that pulley. It's got different holes where you can mount that, so that's kind of what we're going to figure out now.
So what I typically like to do is I like to pull the belt off of the water pump and And so when I crank down on the adjuster, that actually will let me easily slip it on the water pump pulley. So that's the water pump pulley is the one I normally try to put on last, just because it's larger and you can slip it on easier.
Alright guys, so fuel rail, actually, unfortunately the fuel rail hits the wiper, so I thought I was going to get off scot-free, but the fuel rail end of it is hitting right on that plastic piece. So I think I'm going to have to figure something else out on the wiper motor. Got all this far, man. Thought I was there, but that's definitely a problem. So we'll address that later. I'm still waiting for the injectors, so I'll finalize this once I get the injectors, put them in the rail. I just kind of have them sitting there right now to prevent anything from getting in the cylinder. All right, now I've also heard that the stock one right here works, and it looks like it does, but I have a reservoir underneath this battery tray on this side that I need to plumb this into, so I'll have to get that. Actually, it's right here. Dang, how easy can you get, man? That's awesome. That steps it down because this is a different size. So that's pretty cool. I think that'll work. I don't know the type of valve, but that should work. We'll figure that out, kind of where to route that. Okay, figure that out and clean it up. And then another vacuum is this one here, which goes to our HVAC controls. So this one, and it also, I have it right now going to the boost reference regulator, which they said you can't really run this open atmosphere, so I just had it to the vacuum of the car. So now I just have to tee this one in here, so that shouldn't be a problem either. Pretty simple. But I think for today, guys, look, this thing's close. I need the injectors. I couldn't install the brick because I was missing the manifold. When I bought it, it actually had a Z01 manifold that was an aftermarket one. So I'm waiting for that. It's probably gonna be Tuesday, Wednesday. So it's gonna be, which is today's Saturday. So it's gonna be a few days before I get some parts in, and then really finalize the fuel going to it. And it's kind of ready. I mean, this, I mean, I went and hung out today with some of the Thirdgen, guys that I know. And we were eating lunch, got back here about 1:30, and you know, in a few hours, because I had all the systems done. Also, I have to cut the hose here and put that on the manifold once the brick's in. So that, put the injectors in, get that in there for good. I already have the belt on, and I have the LS3 throttle body, which is a 90mm on. That clears, beautiful. And then I was kind of looking at the existing 4-inch tube that I have, and I think if I flip it around, because this is a 45, and what I had was a 45 on my LS3 intake over here, and a 90 here because the LS3 is this way. And I think if I flip that, that's actually gonna work. Wow. I don't know. So really, to get this thing started, I just got to do something with the wiper motor. Once my rest of my injectors get in, put them in, put a little tune in it. Oh, I have to extend the map So I've got to extend that wire over there. I already have an extension for the throttle body, so we're good there. I need to depin the math that we have, and then because I need to run the IAT up here, so I've got a pigtail for that, so I'll depin it, run the harness up there, and run the fuel line from the regulator over to this rail on this side. So that's really it. Man, it's got a great wrap to it. Look at that. Killer. 8 rib, and it's got that kind of wrap. So super happy with that. Everything turned out nice. The Dirty Dingo CTSV F body. Put your F body out to the ZL1 crank pulley, the 8 rib to the outside of it. And then you have one 8 rib belt essentially. Wow, this thing looking beautiful, man.